Alright guys, hope you're well. So yesterday a YouTuber was kind enough to share with us some unreleased Crash Bandicoot cutscenes from the first game, which were in the style of a 90s cartoon.
Crash Bandicoot!
Now it was first thought that these unreleased cutscenes were actually a concept or unreleased 90s cartoon episodes, which would have been fucking awesome. They do look spot on and they sound like a 90s cartoon. They are perfect, to be honest. I would have killed to see that show. I feel like my childhood's been robbed that that show didn't exist. But that got me thinking. Our little corner of YouTube, our little gaming community, is obsessed with talking about games which were based on films and cartoons back in the, well, 80s, 90s. But let's flip that on its head and talk about some things that you wish were made into 90s cartoons. I've got a couple of games here which I wish had been cartoons back in the day. And when I say cartoons, I mean proper cartoons. No anime or manga or whatever you want to call it. I mean proper cartoons. You know what I mean, like fucking DuckTales, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, etc. So I've got two games here that I wish had been cartoons. First one I actually thought was a cartoon for the longest time, and I could have sworn that this existed, and no fucker believed me, and they were right to not believe me because it didn't exist. But I was just incredibly confused and jaded. You'll see what I mean after. So the first game that I think that should have been a cartoon in the 90s, and it's criminal that it never was, is obviously Star Fox or Starwing. Now the reason I was getting this confused is because I was confusing it for another kids cartoon series in the 90s called Bucky O'Hare.
Bucky! Captain Bucky O'Hare!
I think you can forgive me for confusing it with it, especially considering I was young at the time. So I grew up through my teen years with a misunderstanding that this was actually already a kids cartoon series that I just couldn't find online, which is obviously a stupid mistake to make. Either way, this would have made a brilliant kids cartoon. I mean, looking at it now, it probably wouldn't have been a traditional animated 90s kids cartoon, because look at them, they're fucking puppets. They look awesome though, but if they did ever revisit this and decide to make it a cartoon or series, making it puppet based or even sort of claymation, something like that, it would be absolutely epic. I'd kill to see something like that. Now as for a proper 90s cartoon series, there's one game that comes to mind and I'd love to see this, and that would be Oddworld or Abe, made as a 90s cartoon. Now to my mind this wouldn't be based on Abe himself, but more the species of the inhabitants of Oddworld themselves, so like the Mudokons, or Mudokons, I'm never sure how to say that. I can imagine the show being set sort of the same way that Shaun the Sheep is, so very, very short tales with no talking or anything like that. Just imagine watching the Mudokons get into really stupid situations and inevitably killing themselves in a 90s cartoon style. That would be fucking awesome. Obviously never going to happen, but really cool to think about nonetheless. So the point of doing this video, let's try and get some video responses going. What games would you like to have seen made into kids cartoon series back in the 90s, 80s? And put a spin on it as well if you want. Choose modern games, why not? Let's revive the video response. Anyway, very quick one from me. Cheers guys, enjoy.
Like, comment and subscribe. All that bollocks. You need a footstool for every room you see.